Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Peak and Flow podcast. My name is Dave Nixon and this is yet another episode in the BSFT30 series. The BSFT30 is a free program that we offer which has a bunch of things from literally daily podcasts like the one you're listening to right now through to 28 days worth of programming. It has 5 different videos for like master classes, has breathing, has a whole range of things. You can learn more. I won't talk about it now. You can learn more in the link below, but this is part of the BSFT30 series, and today we're going to talk about adaptable intensity. So there's a model that I developed called RPI, and that's really what today is based off, and I'm going to talk through that as we go through. But this is really talking to the individuals that have like this whole concept really in the last couple of podcasts as well is around this sort of all or nothing approach, but it looks different and it sounds different. Here's what it can sound like: go hard or go home, right? When people say something along the lines of like, oh, you know, I've got an all or nothing personality, all right, or I'm just all or nothing, or I'm all in. It's like all or nothing leads to a lot of nothing. So, and commonly when I've mentioned that to people, they're like, oh, yeah, I guess it does. So it's like, it's not this badge of honor. When you go all in because you go, okay, I'm deciding to commit to this, it is very different to then going, it's just who I am, I'm all or nothing. Because what can happen here is we win the day, but we lose the week and we lose the month. Even if we win the week, we're probably going to lose the month. Even if we win the month, we're probably going to lose a year. So it comes back to this other idea of like, when's a good time to start a program like the BSFT30? When's a good time to do it? It's probably when you're busiest. If you can do it when you're busiest, you can do it when you're quiet, right? But people wait for the perfect week and the perfect month. It's like, why? Because even if you nail it, that's not real. It's not reality. So if you can do this when shit's going on, you're going to have a significantly greater chance of actually yielding a longer term result and being successful with this type of program than if you just wait for the perfect 4 weeks, because life's just not like that. And I know you know that, everyone knows that, but we have this like beautiful, perfect dream world where we can try and give everything our full attention. Good luck. Let me know how you go with it. Let me know how you've gone with it in the past. Anyway, that's my cheek for you. Bit of sass for your morning or evening, wherever you are. Doesn't matter. All right, win the day, lose a week. Let's move past that. The other part of this is when it gets a little bit like a static identity, which is like, it's just who I am. We're definitely going to be talking to that throughout this whole program, but we want to move past that. We want to move from this static process of thinking to literally process of thinking and moving past that. So I mentioned before, I've used a model called RPI. Now, anyone that's done some form of powerlifting may be familiar with the term that's called RPE, which stands for rate of perceived exertion. So let's do it once again in the training context. If you're doing some barbell back squats and you're going to be doing 5 sets of 5 reps, and the coach is going, I want you to do it at an RPE of 8. What they're saying is, I want you to do 5 sets of 5 reps at whatever weight you need to. That's going to mean you probably have 8 out of 10, think of it like that, 2 reps left in your tank. If it was a 5 times 5 at an RPE of 10, which would be horrible, it means that like you're doing your repeated 5 RM, 5 rep max. So it's sort of just talking to this actual self-assessment, subjective assessment of how am I feeling out of 10, kind of, do I have 2 left in the tank, or is it an 8.5, is it a 9? Like, it's this good way that like, what it's taking into consideration is that life is not linear. There's heaps of variations. And so my strength and my energy and what effort and intensity I can put into any given day kind of adapts and changes. So it is a post-set reflection. There's many things that go into the set that can really influence the level of intensity that you're going into. If you're talking with someone and you kind of don't like them that much, and then you get stuck straight into your set, that could work one of 2 ways. That could inspire you to really yield kind of a deeper grunt from inside of you and produce a greater result of that set. And it might be like, oh, that was an RPE of 6 because fuck that guy. Or you could be like, oh, I just hate training here because these idiots always annoy me, and you take that energy into it. So all of this stuff's going to be a little bit different, right? But we want to be able to go track our numbers, what's the data, but also track the subjective data and go, how do I actually approach that? And so I spoke to this concept of RPI, rate of preemptive intensity. As you're warming up for a workout or for some strength sets or whatever, you should be checking in with yourself. You should be really checking in with your physical bank account, your mental bank account, and your emotional bank account, and be like, out of 100, what do I have to be able to approach this with? But it's when you're warming up. Otherwise, if you're driving to the gym and you're thinking about it, going, oh, you know, what have I got today? I'm just not really there, and you drive home, right? So this is where go hard, go home ends up being like go hard, go home, get hurt, right? So it's not just go hard or go home. It's like what level of intensity can I approach today's workout with? And if you're cooked and you're like, oh, maybe I'll go home, drive to the gym or wherever you're going, right? If you're going for a walk or whatever it is, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that have done this, like, oh, I don't feel like it. They get home, the dog's like, are we going for a walk? And you're like, oh, fuck, let's go. You go for the walk, and what do you know? You feel better. Surprise, surprise. The same thing can happen with the gym. So don't write it off. Wait till you get there. If you warm up and you're still like, nah, it's not on today. Awesome. You can be happy with your decision because you know that it's not on today, rather than not actually giving yourself the chance to make that decision with the information that is possibly available to you. So your physical bank account, your mental and emotional bank account, you check in with yourself as you're warming up for said exercise. Not before. You need to get the body moving, and you need to get connected to your body. Because what can happen here is that with this all or nothing kind of approach to training, is that it stops being training and it starts being competing. And so people go in and do their workout at whatever gym or whatever space that they're training. And this concept can be utilized in so many different contexts and industries, but we're going to ground it in training to make it most useful for this program. And they treat each workout as if it's a competition. So they're just going ham every single day, and they think this intensity will be good. It's like, sort of, but if someone's a really heady type person and they're not actually paying attention to their body and developing their kinesthetic awareness, then they're gonna run themselves into injuries they could have otherwise avoided if they were basically better at what rate of intensity and what am I focusing on with this. Am I really using this workout to deepen a greater body awareness, rather than just going, that's program centric, so that's the program and this is the exercise technique and I just do it and you tell me if I'm doing it right. That is short term. It's old thinking. We can move past that now. I want you to know, how do you know you're moving well? How do you know that you can actually increase the intensity or the loading or the volume? What tells you on the inside that you're moving safely so that you can add more intensity, volume, stimulus, loading to that? That's the important component here. So we're looking at training versus competing. Competing's great, and people should do it in some form of context, but it's just not every single session. So when we start seeing this identity concept as well, such as it's just who I am, it's not who you are, it's something you do, and it once served a purpose, but it may not serve its purpose now. My guess is that it doesn't. This all or nothing sort of, once again, approach. So how do we yield an RPI, an adaptable intensity to it, is really by being able to, like I said in the last podcast, check these identity statements that come out of your mouth and start to actually go, hang on a sec, I mean, that's not who you are. You're more than a simple value or pattern of thinking. I mean, it goes into this idea of like, oh, I'm fat, right? Let's use that as a concept. It's like, well, no, you're not fat. You have fat, just like everyone. Maybe you have more than you would like based on where you want to go, but you are not fat, right? In the same way, you are not a fingernail. You have fingernails. And so it's just this concept of like, we need to be able to learn that our identity is not based upon how we think, our body, our behaviors, what other people think of us. That's not our identity, right? The more that we blend ourselves with that, the more we're going to struggle with it. And that's some of the stuff that I really hope that I get to offer you throughout this program, is moving past that concept, because it is something that you do, it's not who you are. And that's really important. So let's look at just body, mind, and emotional, some protocols for you. So once again, breathing, you can pace it off your nasal, like nasal breathing. Go, okay, I'm going to really work on this, effectively my sense, get a better indication of like, how do I know my midline's strong? How do I know if I'm feeling it in my glutes? How do I know if my shoulders are in good positions? That is what's going to allow the person to go in and go, what tells me on the inside that I can move well and move safely, and then I can adapt intensity to that. So that is an intelligence one can develop just by choosing to develop that over a long period of time. But if it's not something that you've paid attention to over the years, then you're just going to be a beginner, and start there. Otherwise, just keep doing heady workouts and put yourself into fight or flight if you wish. It's just, that's a short-term win and you lose long-term. When we start looking at mind, there's a really good model that I offer. It's start basic and build. and you can also chunk tasks. And so what that means is like, you know what, just get to the gym and I'm just going to warm up and see how I feel as I warm up. I'm going to check in with myself. All right, cool, done the warm up. I'm feeling all right. I'm just going to go to do the strength work. In our gym, we do strength and then some conditioning, right? Just going to start warming up for the strength work. And do a couple of sets and go from there, and I'll make a decision after that. And so I'm just chunking. I'm just like, what's next? What's next? What's next? I'm just going to start basic and build. But if I go, oh, it's my lunch break and I need to get my bag, like, I think it's, did I even put the bag in the car? I think I did, but I got to walk down the stairs to get to my bag in the locker and then put it in the car, and then I got to drive that to the gym, which is, and there's always never parking there. And then I have to get out, and if I'm going to be a bit late because I'm thinking about this too much now, then they always say something to me, and it's just so annoying. I've just made everything. I haven't even started training yet, and I'm tired. So you really need to go basic and build, chunk the tasks, really simple, make it easy for you to mentally do the next thing. And then with your body, when it comes into emotion, which is literally energy in motion, is actually to get into your body, get moving. I won't talk about it on this podcast, but when we do talk about nervous system, there's this idea of completing the cycle. And so if someone has this sort of vent up frustration, even if they're like pushing it down, be like, no, I'm fine. If you have not had this sympathetic release, right, which is your fight or flight system, but think of it more like a movement system, and if that builds up, that's going to cause all sorts of challenges for you, health-wise and stress-wise and so forth. And so if you are not actually allowing yourself to express those energies in motion, right, if they get, people go, emotions get stored. It's like, no, think about energy gets stored because you're not moving it. And so this energy that you can move, go and fucking move it. Get on the bike, go for a walk, go out and do something, go for a run, whatever the case might be, dance, sing, doesn't matter, move the energy, right? So that way you're actually able to move that emotional bank account. Really important. And if you follow this, if you try this and just choose one of these, if not two of these, then you'll move into the space of consistency, right? It's not even part of the question anymore. And you'll win long term and your results will compound. If someone's all about intensity, then out of 52 weeks, and I assure you they're going to miss a lot of weeks. If someone's about consistency and adaptable intensity, then they're going to show up at majority of those 52 weeks, and they're compounding their interest over that period of time and feeding back into our other important values. We look at intergenerational health. That's how we do it. We do it by compound interest over time. Extend your time horizon. Team, that's me done. I'm out. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, it'd mean the world to me if you pass on to someone else that you think would also enjoy this podcast. If you haven't already, you can learn more about our programs and the BSFT30 in the show notes. It is a free program, the BSFT30. It includes all these podcasts as well as a bunch of other things. But look, I'm not going to go through that now. Find out for yourself. That's me done. I'm out. Until next time, peace and pizza. I'll see you soon.